Mr. Anthony Waldhausen. He's from the Msunduzi Association for Resident Civics. Anthony, good evening and welcome to News in Focus live on Radio Al-Ansar International.
Hi, good evening, and thank you for inviting me again.
Anthony, I've checked on some media reports that are coming through. Pietermaritzburg residents lodged petition against proposed tariff hikes, and it was mentioned that residents, obviously were up in arms against the proposed tariff increases, lack of service delivery, and huge problems in Msunduzi. Can you just highlight to us exactly, if you attended that meeting, what really took place there at that meeting in Pietermaritzburg?
Well, we did attend the meeting in City Hall last month, and to say the least is that this was a tick box exercise, and residents weren't given opportunities, managed to just voice the issues. But this is the challenge we have with public participation. Is that the municipality just did a presentation of the tariff increases, and residents then were able to speak to those tariff increases, but then and were encouraged to make submissions. And this is where residents throughout Pietermaritzburg actually made submissions, and we've actually developed an online objection form where residents could actually submit their objections, and we actually received 2,800 objections, and of course Mark also submitted the objections, and the municipalities also recently just adopted a draft budget for 25-26, and again we said we cannot actually support the increases of these tariff increases because we're not receiving the value for our money for our service delivery. And as it's been mentioned, we've residents financially hard hit with all these increases, and we are battling to actually survive under this financial pressure that we have throughout the years, and we find it very difficult to survive.
Proposed tariff increase or tariff hike is 36% in electricity compared to 12.72 of eThekwini. Why is Pietermaritzburg so much higher?
Well, it hasn't been approved as yet because it has to go through NERSA as well. So until NERSA approves, gives them the approval of what the actual amount will be, the percentage amount, that is just a draft moment. So we're waiting for NERSA to give the feedback on what percentage increases they're going to approve.
It's further mentioned that the mayor, Mzinkulu Tebola, I remember interviewing him. He reminded the attendees at that meeting that the gathering was a consultation meeting and that the proposed tariffs could only be implemented after consultation with residents in different spheres of government. Now, as residents, you all have a major problem in the sense that, you all can't even afford the current tariffs, let alone any increases. So if they're talking about any kind of increase, how are the people going to afford it? I mean, surely you all won't support any increases.
Of course,
let alone what they're proposing.
Yes, of
Anthony,
course, we won't be able to support.
Continue, Anthony.
Yeah, we won't be supporting these increases. I mean, we're finding that the service that we're getting at the moment is very poor and non-existent. So can they justify these increases? And it's actually absurd and not justifiable. And we've actually asked the question of how did they actually come to these figures, and they're not actually responding to us. So this is where we from our side are going to monitor the processes, because they cannot go and submit to increase these tariff increases, because they still have to, as part of legislation, the municipal system, to actually respond to our actual submissions. For example, they've acknowledged to us only, but I don't know about the rest of the residents and other organizations. That is the due process. If they do not follow the due process, then they cannot actually put this through. And we are having to look at the possible legal action against this, because they cannot do this without proper public participation.
Now, it's reported that speaker after speaker, Anthony, raised the issues of potholes, illegal connections, overflowing sewers, water and electricity infrastructure problems, billing problems, unfair collection practices, and the list continues. Now, people have paid quite high rate increases last year, I understand, and they are questioning that, we're paying these high rates and we're paying, utility charges, but in return, the city is not giving much. So what is the reaction of the ratepayer associations in Piemberg to this? Are they planning to, as you mentioned, take this matter up legally or to withhold payment for services? What is the stance?
I think that from our side, we need to follow the due processes at the moment. And if the municipality is not compliant with those processes and the due processes, then we will have to take legal action against them, because that will be a method that will actually have to stop the process, because they cannot continue not having the proper procedures of the public participation of residents. Part of local government is to actually ensure that all stakeholders have a say in the decision-making processes of the municipality, which is not happening. And this is where we hold the municipality accountable for not doing that.
Is there a technical hitch, Monley? You can continue, Anthony. I think you got cut off there. Anthony, are you with us still?
Yeah, I am. I actually completed what I said.
Now, so what is the final way forward? You say you're considering the options to ensure that you'll have some kind. Don't you have any kind of a relationship with the municipality? Because I recall reading, an article recently that there is some forensic investigation taking place over and above the municipality being under administration. But there's some forensic investigation taking place, and you all are going to work closely with the investigators.
Yes, of course. Well, there's two processes that are happening at the moment. We have the Premier's working group, which was announced last month by the Premier, whereby there's a working group of COCTA and some of the municipality staff and business that are actually part of this working group that is going to try and assist the municipality as much as possible. But also what has come out as well too is the MSC of COCTA has actually set up a forensic investigation in the municipality. And this is where they're going to unearth all this corruption, and we're going to be working closely with them to provide information. And we have written to them as well too, to give the information and also what we're doing at the moment as well. We're also reviewing the 23-24 annual report and audit report. And we are going to submit questions around that in which they need to answer as well. So the thing is that we are working closely and monitoring the whole process with KZN and COCTA, so that we can provide evidence as well to around the corruption that has taken place in the municipality.
Thank you, Anthony. We wish you everything of the best in your endeavors to hold the municipality responsible for any maladministration and to hold the municipality to account to improve service delivery, because certainly the residents deserve much better for what they're paying, and they cannot afford to have any compromise service delivery. But we will be in touch with you in the future, Anthony, once again, and perhaps we'll interview you live at our studio in Pietermaritzburg sometime in the near future. But we wish you everything of the best in your endeavors to ensure that the citizens of Msunduzi do receive value for money for the utilities and rates they pay. Thank you very much for joining us, Anthony.
Thanks a lot. Thank you.